I grew up as a major fan of Pokemon and Harry Potter. I'm bringing this up because never will I ever like tell someone that like, oh man, it sure was terrible when Christians were persecuting us because that didn't fucking happen, okay? Like it wasn't a thing. I don't try to make myself a victim out of it. It was a complete nothing burger. Probably something drummed up by the corrupt mainstream media to try and make someone or something look bad, right? Like it just seems dumb. Okay, so when you get that out of the way, like why are D&D fans so different, right? Pokemon and Harry Potter are a lot more recent than D&D, right? They're a lot more popular than D&D, especially Pokemon. They are a lot more relevant. They're much more popular worldwide. They're easier to get into. Pokemon in particular has like dozens of avenues to enjoy it. The anime, the card games, the video games, like all the other various ways to enjoy Pokemon, right? Pokemon and Harry Potter are way, way bigger than D&D ever was, way more popular, and yet you don't see people complaining about the evil Christians, right? Like they don't try to tell you like, ooh, the evil Christians are trying to stop us from playing our games because that didn't happen. Okay, that is the reality of the situation. And I do believe, after listening to years and years of like Spoonie trying to hide his defense, trying to hide his, trying to justify his obsession with D&D with, I was persecuted living in the Arizona desert, playing D&D, eating toilet pizza, like, those Christians, man, like, it's a load of crap, okay? Like, it is just a bunch of nerds trying to play the victim card, trying to act as if they were struggling doing absolutely nothing, okay? Like, how dare society not respect our stupid tabletop game? How dare society not respect our this totally real RPG? How dare society not respect our pronouns, bro? Like, why exactly the issue with D&D, and this is becoming more and more apparent as I interact with them, is that they really do have this mindset that like the entire world revolves around them. They really do try to like go up to people and try to say, "Oh, you have a high charisma stat. You have a high intelligence. Oh man, you maxed out your strength stat." Like they treat people like fucking like character spreadsheets, right? Like I've seen them do this with talking about anime in particular, where they like try and give people stats. It's like unbearably autistic, right? It has nothing to do with your stupid tabletop game, right? So why exactly are you bringing D&D into this? Like the reality is, D&D for the D&D fan is their religion, right? People don't play D&D because they enjoy it or because like they want to spend time with their friends or because they get some good mileage out of it. They get to have a fun adventure. No, they play it to escape from their pitiful, miserable lives, right? This is the reason why Spoonie obsessively, just compulsively still talks about D&D, even in this day and age where he doesn't play it, right? He named his dog Thako, right? Fucking Thako. Like how much of like a D&D like how much has D&D degraded your brain to the point where you name your dog after a fundamental D&D concept, right? Like you couldn't come up with like a better name, like you couldn't name it after a character or something. No, no, we got to name it Thaco because I had to express my love for all of these D&D mechanics and like how much it's shaped me into who I am today, right? The recluse internet celebrity, the incel that stays in his brother's house and just does nothing all day. When he streams, he doesn't even talk, right? He just sits there and plays everything other than Nintendo games, right? Being miserable, having no day job, waiting like his fans eagerly awaiting the year of the spoon where he'll come back and make videos every week and it'll be just like 2008 all over again, right? Like, come on, like really. Really? Like what were you expecting to happen, right? Like what did you think was gonna happen with D&D, right? Like how did you really think that locking yourself up in a room, locking yourself up in a game store, not working there, but working there anyway? Like, did you really think that revolving your entire life around this hobby that has like no opportunities to advance in life, no career opportunities, no opportunities to get to meet women and start families or to like take on real responsibility. Like, who would have thought that locking yourself in a basement and just refusing all real world repercussions, all real world responsibilities would end badly for you, right? And this is why the D&D fan is such a failure, right? The average D&D fan is on X right now tweeting about how Baldur's Gate 3 is totally the game of the year, even though he hasn't played it yet. Even though he hasn't gotten past out Act 1, because he doesn't really play video games. He doesn't know anything about them. He can't even tell you what a real RPG is, right? Like, he seems to be under the impression that, like, tabletop RPGs are, like, the superior version of the RPG format, even though the video games have surpassed the concept a long time ago, right? Japanese RPGs have surpassed the original concept a long time ago, right? Like, the D&D fan genuinely believes that, like, Baldur's Gate 3 is a great game because your choices matter, even though they don't, like what exactly do I have to what exactly would I experience in Baldur's Gate 3 by playing it differently, right? Like, it's still the same boring point and click adventure game. Like, why would I care about what happens? Like, I don't care about the plot, I don't care about the characters, like I can't do anything other than being like a homosexual apparently. Like, that's all Baldur's Gate 3 seemed to like excel in, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, when you look at like the way the D&D generation turned out, you do realize that like wow, the average gamer, especially the average Nintendo fan, is way more successful than the average D&D fan, right? We do have engaging hobbies. We do pick up new skills. We do advance our lives. We do eventually move on from our hobby, right? The D&D fan doesn't do that. Like, the D&D fan wallows in his own filth for like the rest of the time. The D&D fan just sits in the basement, long after everyone else has just gone home and just reminisces about old campaigns, reminisces about the toilet pizza. Well, I already brought up the pizza. Vegan Steve. Like, they do everything they can except go outside and live their own fulfilling lives. The sad reality of the fact is, and I do really mean this, the reason why D&D fans are so salty about Christians to this day is because they were 100% right. D&D is an evil board game and should be shunned and made fun of by the general population.